Elizabeth in Persona 3 is not only an amazing and charming character, but also acts as the hardest challenge in the game you can possibly overcome. After completing all of the Monad doors in Tartarus, you're given one final, secret request, and that of course is to defeat the Velvet Attendant herself. Many people will say this game is far too easy, and honestly I'm inclined to agree, so I wanted to make this fight a little bit special. Instead of going into this fight with the most decked out builds ever like this one for example, I decided to be a little modest and make a couple of personas that would make it at least a little more interesting. And I wanted to approach this in a way most people probably haven't done before. And for solid reason, because this isn't an ideal way to beat her at all. For the cherry on top, I did all of this on Merciless difficulty, so it doesn't get much harder than this in terms of this game. Enough foreplay though, let me go ahead and go over the setup process and what I decided on to fight Liz. First and foremost, you need to get to level 99, so I of course did that. There's literally zero reason to go into it anyway, where you're basically just throwing the fight at that point. Having the highest health and SP amounts you can get is the key to success, and by the time I got to the end of my playthrough, I had around 625 HP and 450 SP, which is a little low but plenty high enough to get by. Getting to level 99 once you get the Armageddon Theurgy is as simple as getting into a fight with the Reaper and then one-shotting him, making this the easiest Reaper fight in the entire series. Speaking of Armageddon, that's a 100% necessary requirement for the Liz fight. Elizabeth has a total of 20,000 health, and if you don't beat her within a certain amount of time on either phase 1 or 2, she will instantly kill you with a 9,999 damage Megidolon. On top of that, there are 2 scripted turns where she will pop these insta-kill Megidolon attacks, so we need a way to survive these and continue the fight. Since this game doesn't have the infinity skill like Fess or Portable, we're gonna have to do this the old-fashioned way, or, well, new-fashioned way technically, and use skills to survive instead. A lot of people will opt to use accessories to equip both Endure and Enduring Soul to survive, but for this video, I just put the skills onto the 2 main personas instead. So what accessories did I use instead? I used the Lucifer's Blade to get extra stats, Armor of Light to lower magic damage, Shoes of Bane to nullify Dark Insta-Kill, and the Amortite Necklace to nullify all ailments. Something else to keep in mind before I get into the persona builds themselves is that you can't use a persona that nullifies or repels an element, or else Liz will instantly kill you. At most, you can only resist an ailment, so as a result, the perfect persona for this fight is Orpheus Telos, which you can fuse after maxing out every social link in the game in one playthrough. It's not impossible to beat her without Orpheus Telos, but it is a good bit harder. Maybe in another video, I'll try to beat her without him, but for my first go around, I figured I'd use him since I rightfully earned him. To summarize the Liz fight, she has 20,000 health, and once you get her under 10,000 health, she will do a 9999 damage Megidolon to insta-kill you. So we have to have Endure to survive this. If we don't kill her fast enough in that first phase though, then nothing is saving us, so time is of the essence. She will then heal back to 20,000 health and swap to another phase which is more or less the same, but she will deal more damage and buff and debuff more, so we need to play around that properly. Once we get her under 10,000 health once again, she's going to pop another Megidolon to kill us, but since our second persona will have Enduring Soul, we'll survive yet again, and once it's our turn, we immediately do Armageddon to kill her before she can do another turn. Getting to this position is easier said than done though, because every turn her personas will change, and as a result, what she is weak to will change as well. Well, weak to isn't the proper thing to say since she just doesn't have a weakness, so what she nullifies is a more apt description. Since I'm not using almighty attacks for my main DPS build, this is kind of a pain in the ass, but whatever, I'm up for the challenge. In fact, the main element I decided on, which is God's Hand, is nullified by her a couple of times, but you know, fuck it, we ball right. We just gotta be smart with how we buff and debuff to maximize the damage when she is able to be hit by strike attacks. With all of these aspects of the fight in mind, we can go into the first persona I built, which is the Orpheus Telos. I'll spare you the monotony of me going over the entire process of making him, but on screen are the steps to make this build if you'd like to replicate it. It's pretty damn easy, all things considered. The only thing you might not be able to replicate entirely is the stats, because I used some incense to raise his strength and whatnot, but other than that, it's pretty simple. It just takes time. A lot more of it than I would have liked, to be honest. And getting rid of Victory Cry as a skill always breaks my heart, but it had to be done. After he was fused, I had to go get him to level 99, which, you know what that means, more Reaper reaping. Once that was said and done, and I threw some skill cards onto him, this is what we had cooking. God's Hand, Arms Master, Crit Rate Amp, Apt Pupil, Strike Amp, Firm Stance, Single Target Boost, and Endure. I can't remember if crit rate amp and apt people stack or not, but if they don't, then oh well, it just makes it more interesting, I guess. Firm stance is there because guaranteeing we take half damage from Liz's attacks feels more consistent than maybe dodging some of the attacks here and there, and we want to avoid needing to spend turns healing as much as possible, since we're on a time limit here. It's a nice build though, and it's strong enough to take down anything in the entire game as long as they don't nullify strike. Now that we have our DPS persona set up, we need a support persona. Going into this fight with no support persona is suicide because you're basically going to get debuffed and she's going to buff herself. So you're going to get your ass smoked. And even if you don't, you won't be able to do enough damage. So yeah, we definitely need some damn support. The holy trinity of support for my DPS build is going to be Heat Riser, Debilitate, and Charge. And since I need Enduring Soul on this one, that leaves me with 4 other skills to choose. Before that though, I gotta choose the persona itself to build upon. And for this run, I chose Chi-Yu. Was this the smartest idea? Nah, not really, but I think Chi-Yu is pretty dope looking and he's good enough to get the job done, I think. So I got to fusing and building him up as well. You could make a persona that has all resistances like Orpheus Telos, but I just didn't feel like doing that, to be honest. Again, the steps are going to be on screen if you'd like to replicate this build, and this one is even easier, to be honest. With another persona comes yet another damn 5 minutes of waiting for the Reaper to come back so I can smoke his shit and get him to level 99. And since Chi-Yu doesn't resist everything, I made sure to put all of my endurance instances onto him so he can take the least amount of damage possible. He needs more help than the Orpheus, and doing this definitely saved my ass more than a few times. With him at level 99 and the incense used, here's what the build was looking like. Heat Riser, Debilitate, Charge, Spellmaster, Resist Electric, Firm Stance, Enduring Soul, and Regenerate 3. I chose Spellmaster because these buffs cost a lot of SP, so this will save me from needing to use any SP items, which is very welcome since, like I've emphasized a few times, we gotta beat her quickly. Okay, so we've got our support and DPS personas made, but we're missing one key to the puzzle, and that is an auto buffer so we can start the fight at max potential. It doesn't matter what persona we choose for this, they can literally be the weakest persona ever, and it would be fine since we won't be using them for the fight at all, so I needed to choose a fitting persona. Since I'm from West Virginia, I had to go with my boy Mothman to get this fight started on the right track. With the power of bonds and Appalachia on my side, I felt pretty confident going into this fight. Now that we got the setup and general structure for how the fight works laid out, we can get into my actual attempts to beat her. My first attempt was hilarious because I immediately bought it out and decided it would be a great idea to use Heat Riser, even though I deliberately went out of my way to make the Mothman with the auto buffs. So I decided to just throw the fight and restart so I could get on the right track. First and foremost, I needed to see what order she would use her personas in, and then based on that decide whether or not I should do certain things. If she swapped to a persona that nullified strike, I needed to adjust and do something different, which would be to either buff or debuff. I would also use Theurgy as early as I could because there really isn't any reason not to early on into the fight. The only time I would need to preserve the Theurgy is right at the end when I need to explode her health bar with Armageddon. To be honest with y'all though, I was basically acting like a straight caveman during this fight because I would pop Fuka's analysis skill to scan all of her personas and kinda just go with the flow. Sometimes I would do really bad options like using Charge and then bam, next turn I couldn't even attack her because she nullified strike or something. So I'd have to spend that turn doing something else instead. Realistically speaking, this isn't the biggest deal ever, but man did it make me feel like an absolute dumbass. Well, I say it wasn't a big deal, but it kinda was because by the time her first insta-kill Megidolon attack would go off, I wouldn't have enough time to end the first phase because of bad management with the skills and damage. So my first attempt wasn't bad, but it became clear that I would actually need to pay way more attention than I was to her persona order and lock in. I knew that if I could get past the first phase, then the second phase would be pretty much smooth sailing since I had already gotten that close, and the second phase is a lot more forgiving to be honest. As a side note, I was actually taking note of how much damage I was doing to her with a calculator, and on most of my failed attempts, I was hovering around 8,500 damage dealt, and to end the first phase, I needed to deal at least 10,000 so she would fully heal and begin the next one. This showed me just how bad my damage dealing was, and it honestly made me wonder if my Orpheus Telos build would actually be good enough, but instead of giving up, I kept trucking onward with faith that it would be alright. One thing I was regretting during the fight though, was not making a dedicated healing persona. I didn't think about it until after I began attempting the fight, but whenever I spent a turn to heal, I wasn't building toward the next Theurgy at all. The protagonist Theurgy charges when he uses a persona, so when I had to use an item to heal, I wasn't fulfilling that at all, which would have made the process a lot more smooth sailing. But it did make it a lot more interesting, which was something that made it a lot more fun as a result. Failed about 1 or 2 more times after that on phase 1 because I couldn't deal enough damage, but eventually I did have a run to get past it. And at this point, I want to make the video more interesting. Since I've laid the groundwork for everything regarding the fight, and this is the hardest boss fight in the game, instead of continuing the spoken commentary, let's do something a little different. I'd like to swap to a written commentary style and make a montage to cut the fight down in its entirety so I can show all the moments I dealt damage, took damage, and everything like that. Since the fight took 40 damn minutes, I can't just show the whole thing, so that's why a montage is more fitting. And just to top off the montage, I want to do something special as well. I know not everybody might fuck with the song I'm gonna use with it, but I'd like to imagine the majority of y'all will at least get a kick out of it. I don't want to drag on too long and tease, so let's do this. I hope you enjoy this segment.
Shoo! Shoo!
Now, shall we dance?
Shoo! 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 Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, I'm out the way, I'm low, okay. Yeah, the island right here is remote, okay. I ain't thinking about no reaper. Nigga, I'm reaping what I sow, okay. Got a Benjamin and a Jackson.
Come, Orpheus!
Like I'm doing okay, okay. Made his own boys in them types of okay. Everybody wanna be demon, till they get chipped by your throwaway. And I might do a show a day. Once a lame, always a lame. Oh, you thought the money, the power of fame will make you go away. Have you ever played? Have you ever? Okay, nigga, let's play. Have you ever watch your enemy down like with a poker face? Have you ever paid 500,000 like to an open case? Well, I have, and I failed at both, but I came out straight. I hate when a rapper talk about guns, then somebody died, they turn into nuns, then I hop online like pray for my city, he faking for likes and digital hugs. His daddy a killer, he wanna be junior, they must have forgot the shit that they done. Dementia must run in his family, but let it get shaky. I parked his son. The very first time I shot me and Drake, the homie had told me to aim it this way. I didn't point down enough. Today I show you I learned from those mistakes. Somebody had told me that you got a ring. On God, I'm ready to double the wage. I'd rather do that than let a Canadian nigga make pot turn in his grave. Cut the bitch, you got shit twisted. What is it, the brakes? I hurt your feelings, you don't work with me no more. Okay, there's 3 ghosts left and I see 2 of them kissing and hugging on stage. I love her to death, and in 8 bars I'll explain that phrase. There's nobody can tell me. I don't wanna talk on no felly. You know I got language barriers. There's no accent you can sell me. You're cold and I know I'm a selfish nigga. The crown is heavy. I pray they my real friends. If not, I'm YNW metal. I don't like you popping shit that Pharrell. For him, I inherit the beef. Yeah, fuck all that pushing P. Let me see you push a T. You better off spinning again on him. You think about pushing me. He's Terrence Thornton, I'm Terrence Crawford. Yeah, I'm working feet. We ain't gotta get personal, this a friendly fade. You should keep it that way. I know some shit about niggas that make gonna wanna look like a saint. This ain't been about critics, not about gimmicks, not about who the greatest. It's always been about love and hate. Now let me say I'm the biggest hater. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress. I hate the way that you sneak this. If I catch flight, it's gonna be direct. We hate the bitches you fuck, cause they confuse themselves with real women. Then notice I said we, it's not just me. I'm what the culture feeling. How many more fairy tale stories about your life till we had enough? How many more black features till you finally feel that you're black enough? I like Drake with the melodies. I don't like Drake when he act tough. You gon' make a nigga bring back Puff. Let me see if Chubbs really crash something. You're my first one like my last one. It's a classic, you don't have one. Let your core audience stomach that. Then tell them where you get your abs from. V12 is a fast one. Last one. Headshot for the year. You better walk around like Daft Punk. Remember? Hey, Top Dog, who the fuck they think they playing with? Extortion my middle name as soon as you jump off of that plane, bitch. I'm allergic to the lame shit. Only you like being famous. Yachty can't give you no swag neither. I don't give a fuck about who you hanging with. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress. Surprise you wanted that feature request. You know that we got some shit to address. I even hate when you say the word
Marvelous. You wield such power. I shall give you something to remember.
You see success. Everything being with me is blessed. Keep making me dance, waving my hand, and it won't be no threat. I'm knowing they call you the boy, but where's the man? Cause I ain't seen him yet. Matter of fact, I ain't even bleed him yet. Can I bleed him? When I see you stand by sexy red, I believe you see two bad bitches. I believe you don't like women, it's real competition. You might pop ass with them. Let's speak on percentage. Show me your splits, I'll make sure I double back with you. You assigned to a nigga that signed to a nigga that said he was signed to that nigga. Try cease and desist on the like that record. Oh what, you ain't like that record? Back to back, I like that record. I'ma get back to that for the record. Why would I call around trying to get dirt on niggas? Y'all thinking my life is rap? That's whole shit, I got a son to raise, but I can see you ain't know nothing about that. Waking them up, know nothing about that. Then tell them to pray, know nothing about that. Then giving them tools to walk through life like day by day, know nothing about that. Teaching them morals, integrity, discipline, listen man, you don't know nothing about that. Speaking the truth and consider what God's considering, you don't know nothing about that. Ain't 20v1, it's 1v20 if I gotta smack niggas that right with you. Yeah, bring them out too, I clean them out too. Tell Bean that he better stay right with you. Am I battling ghosts or AI? Nigga feeling like Joe Hill Austin. Funny he was in a film called AI. And my 6'6" telling me to offing. I'm a blick niggas all in the coffin. Yeah, overhauled niggas is dick riders. Tell them run to America to imitate heritage. They can't imitate this violence. What I learned is niggas don't like the West Coast and I'm fine with it. I'll push the line with it. Pick a nigga off one at a time with it. We can be on a 3-hour time difference. Don't speak on the family, Crody. It can get deep in the family, Crody. Talk about me and my family, Crody. Someone go bleed in your family, Crody. I'll be at New Hall King eating fried rice with a dip sauce.
And now, I give you the grand finale.
Hey, fuck y'all niggas, I don't trust y'all niggas. I wave one finger and thump y'all niggas like, Phil go punt y'all niggas, they punk y'all niggas. Nobody never took my food. Whoever that's fucking with them, fuck you niggas and
You're
fuck the
finished.
industry too. If you take it there, I'm taking it further. That's something you don't wanna do. Ooh. We don't wanna hear you say nigga no more. We don't wanna hear you say nigga no more. Stop.
I believed I could find my answer by challenging someone stronger than me. Alas, I was mistaken. I have received no such revelation as to who I am, not even in defeat. No, perhaps I was too hasty. Perhaps I've already found my answer. Only I can understand who I am, and only I can decide who I am. Now, I believe congratulations are in order. You have overcome the most difficult obstacle I've placed in your path. You shall receive your reward in the same manner as always. And please accept this as well. It is no reward, but a token of my gratitude. Well then, good day.
To wrap things up, after about 40 minutes of just straight brawling out with Elizabeth to some Kendrick, I was able to actually beat her on Merciless with a fairly non-optimal build. There were definitely some close moments and mistakes, but I was able to adjust and take the W at the end of the day. I haven't ever really gone out of my way to beat one of the super bosses on the hardest difficulty, so this was a pretty fun challenge. If you'd like to see me do some more content for the other super bosses, then definitely let me know. At some point, I would like to come and do challenge runs to beat her with even weaker personas, but that's for another time. With all of this said, that's the end of my experience to finally defeat Elizabeth. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. It helps my channel out a lot, and I'll love you forever. It's been your boy Yandere Gogeta, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out, and have a great day.